Hello, everyone, and welcome to the final day of Sprout Sessions. As you know, I'm Sarah Nagel. I'll be your host for this session. I'm the Senior Manager of Brand Advocacy and Community here at Sprout, and I'm so excited to talk to some of our awesome agency partners in this Agencies Tell All session. So the goal of these Sprout Sessions is really just to bring our industry together and inspire all of you to take action on your own social strategy, gain new perspectives that you can bring back to your organizations. As you probably know, these sessions are live, and so they'll be recorded and available to access on our YouTube page after the presentation. We'd love for you to engage with us on social media. You can tweet by using the hashtag Sprout Sessions, and you can engage with others who are also watching, so please network accordingly. The session doesn't include a Q&A, but you can definitely feel free to follow up with any of the panelists post-presentation. Their Twitter handles will be on the final slide. Again, like I said, this session is all about agency life as told by some of our really great agency partners. So without further ado, I'll throw it to them to introduce themselves. We'll first start off with Dan. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself, Dan?
Thanks, Sarah. Hi, everyone. My name is Dan Towers. I'm the Senior Manager of Digital Media at Arcane Digital. We are an independent agency that is headquartered in London, Ontario, but we also have offices in Toronto and Calgary. Arcane is a full branding house and digital agency, and my team encompasses that full suite of digital advertising. So our offerings include search, display, social advertising is huge, and what I'm really excited about to talk with you today about, SEO, conversion optimization, we really do it all.
That's great. Kim, can you tell us a little bit about your professional background?
Yeah, I've been working in marketing for the past about 10 years and really have the full gamut of experience from nonprofits to working in entertainment. I kind of started off in agency, and now coming back to agency life is really where I find it's the most dynamic and an exciting place where every day is always different.
Thanks, Dan. Hey, Kim, can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, hi, everybody. I'm Kim Zebor. I'm the Director of Social Media at Seattle-based full-service marketing agency Thin Pig Media. While our specialties are within the hospitality and entertainment verticals, we have clients in a variety of other sectors throughout the world. Career-wise, I've worked in the social space for over 10 years now and marketing for nearly 15. My role at Thin Pig is to oversee our team of social media managers, ensure client success, and really just stay ahead of trends in order to offer our clients the most comprehensive and creative consulting for their brands.
Very exciting. Hey, Nicole, last but not least, can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, I'm happy to. My name's Nicole Spears, and I'm a senior social media strategist at Mindstream Interactive. We're a customer experience agency headquartered in Columbus, Ohio, and we do social media content, strategy, and advertising for clients in retail and CPG and more. And I have about 5 years of experience in social media and PR agencies.
Very nice. Thanks, Nicole. Thanks, everyone, for bearing with us there. We had a couple little technical glitches, but I think we should be good to go now. So let's kick it off. I would love for you to tell us how you've seen the role of agencies evolve as social media becomes more important in companies' marketing plans. Kim, I know that you have quite a bit of experience. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, well, when I began working with Thin Pig nearly 8 years ago, many businesses weren't even using social yet, or they weren't even on social media. So it's definitely evolved in that sense. Back then, more businesses questioned if they needed to have a social presence. And now we all know it's not a question of if, but how. And that's a question many agencies answer all day. So a lot of times it can make companies just aren't quite ready to take on social media themselves. We've also experienced clients in recent years getting savvier and more hands-on or involved with the social media process, since they often use it personally and are more exposed to how other businesses are using it and benefiting from it. So it's even more important. It's very important for us to stay up to date on everything and be ready to answer any latest news or best practice type questions our clients ask about. We all know it's a constantly evolving landscape, so we definitely have to stay up on all that.
I think Kim really hit the nail on the head there. The role as an agency is constantly evolving and changing, and at least what I've noticed is that in many respects, agency partners are viewed more as consultants than actually always executing on it. And this just changes too, because brands want to be able to provide authentic experiences for their clientele. So, things like Instagram's posting live and stories, and even Facebook's live functionality. It's becoming harder and harder for agencies to be able to provide that, since we're not on the ground and running with it every day. So there's a lot of training that we do in order to help our clients actually provide that authentic experience for their clientele.
That's really interesting, Dan, and I think that that's a really good segue into our next question. And we really want to know how you work with clients in order to capture and reproduce experiences when you can't be there in person. Like what do you do? How do you can you go into a little bit more detail about how you train them or what you ask of them in that respect?
Yeah, at Arcane, we've built very comprehensive training programs for when our clients ask for it. As Kim was saying, our clients are becoming very fluent in the social space, but it comes to those nuances of, more in-depth strategy. And we have a lot of relationships as well with, Google and Facebook that can provide insights that they might not necessarily get. So we make sure that we have regular consultation meetings with them and that they feel that they have the best training possible. But we really work with them on building out that strategy. So for example, we have a client that is focused in the retail space, and still nowadays about 90%, if not more, of retail purchases are still done in store. So we help them see how social media can help drive those sales. And one of the cool things that we've been working with them on is this space that's kind of like an Instagram wall of post these products on Instagram, get people to put them on hold, or their Instagram inspired looks that people can come into the store and find clothes right away that match them. So it's really helping them bridge that gap still between social media and online experience, and then the actual experience that somebody will have in store with them.
Yeah, and I think the more that you know about the businesses you're partnering with like that, the 90% of shopping in store really helps you be prepared and proactive as an agency when you're coming to the experiences that really move at the fast pace of social. And we're able to get a little more proactive too by really relying heavily on social listening or trend spotting ahead of time to anticipate what's coming up for the client in social and really come prepared with past conversation trends that may help us say, okay, we're on the verge of spring and these topics are going to hit big. What can we prepare ahead of time to really be able to move at that fast pace without missing a beat?
Yeah, and similar to Dan, we do a lot of training with our clients. When we onboard a client, we always have an initial visit to meet the team with which we'll be working, explain how our partnership will work, build rapport with them, collect content for our library, and overall just learn more about the business. We attempt to get as much evergreen content as we can that we can use throughout the year, whether it be photos or videos, boomerangs, any little thing like that. And then after this visit, we go back to the office. We set up ongoing calls with our clients where we discuss upcoming events and happenings. So if it's something that we want to share on social but don't already have the content for, we usually find someone at the property level that can carry out the mission. So we'll brainstorm the best way to gather and share the content on social, like if it's a Facebook Live or Instagram story, etc. And then we'll do a brief training or walkthrough with an individual that will be helping on site.
I love that, Kim. I think it's so important to spot those people, excuse me, at the client level that that you can rely on and work with. And I think that we have seen that obviously social is so ubiquitous that anyone can learn how to do it and know how to do it, but they really need that strategic guidance from the agency to say, okay, here's a good strategy, here's what you should be doing. So those are really great examples and insights. Thanks, everyone. Let's take a step back for a moment and let's talk to how you determine a client's needs in order to help them tell the brand story that they're looking to tell. How do you work with them to figure out what their brand voice and brand story is going to be? And then how do you guide your strategy from there?
Yeah, this is Nicole. I'll jump in there. we really work hard to bring the brand's heritage into their social voice. So although social media may be at times a new venture or relatively new on the marketing suite for our clients, we want to make sure that everything existing that their brand has been all about for years is still translating over. And not every brand has to sound the same and talk like the digital natives. It may not be a fit for everyone. So we want to make sure that we're using research and stakeholder input, a lot of social listening, again, to bring the very best of that brand to the social audience and to these users that they're now connecting with. One of the best examples we have of using that social listening for tone and voice comes from a recent project we did where we found that a client was using the word scent in a lot of their social copy, talking about the beautiful scents that they have to offer. But when we did some social listening, we found that their consumers were using the word smell more so. So in order to kind of translate their brand and to get themselves really in that conversation, we were looking for new opportunities to trade out that word, smell, for scent. And even though it's a small change, it's the little insights like that that really make the conversation more authentic.
That's really cool, Nicole. I really love that example. One of the things I want to highlight on this question is really what you kind of were talking about there, and that marriage between using agencies for expertise, something like what you were able to uncover with smell, but then also relying on the client a lot for just the general knowledge about their business. We spend a lot of time with our clients to really gain that understanding of what is their business, what does it mean to them, and really involve them in our actual branding and that storytelling process. One of the things that we do at Arcane as well is an exercise where we start building out this brand persona by understanding who are the key demographics that we want to be going after. And sometimes through looking at the research, we're able to uncover new ones and new stories that we might have to tell that we might not have looked at before. And we want to start breaking out these demographics to look at, okay, how is the voice going to have to change to speak to each of these audiences? What's that impact that we expect to have? And then we try to really map out a whole plan to address each of those different audience segments or stakeholders while having a comprehensive story or that overarching story.
Yeah, and much like Nicole and Dan, when we onboard clients, we perform a couple of different exercises as well. We always start with a questionnaire for brands to fill out ahead of time. It just includes questions around, what their vision for their brand is, demographic information, competitor analysis, just so we have that kind of in writing as a template for getting started. We often will get these from multiple people to get perspective from different angles. And as I mentioned before, we do that initial property visit to collect content and learn more about the business, so we know what stories it can tell on social. And then once we're back in the office, we set up our reoccurring calls with the client, and each one we discuss upcoming happenings and marketing and PR initiatives, so we can integrate these into our social strategy on a continuous basis as well. And regarding working with clients on which stories to tell, we look at it as a two-way street, much like Nicole did with the scent and smell. While our clients often will guide the content and areas of focus on social, we as an agency will always come back and provide them with data from our social listening. So for example, if we have a client that really wants to push their luxurious beds, a hotel client, but we're not measuring great engagement on social for that, we definitely share this info with them. However, if all the user-generated content we're seeing on social revolves around their amazing pools, for instance, we take that back to the client so then they can perhaps shift their focus in order to drive more clicks, engagement, and ideally ROI.
I love that. I love that you're all using that data in order to inform the client and, really be that expert. I think that that's obviously what agencies' main purpose is, right? To tell the client exactly what they should be doing, what's going to be successful, and really help them to achieve that over the long term. Kim, you mentioned ROI, so let's get into it. The elusive question of how you actually prove ROI from social media. I know this is something all social media managers face and can be challenging. So what are some of the different ways that you showcase proving that ROI to your clients?
Yeah, so we have found huge success by utilizing the Facebook Pixel for tracking direct ROI for our clients. It's an awesome analytics tool for really diving in, knowing exactly who is responding to your content and advertising, and optimizing your ads in order to make sure they're being shown to the exact right people. Um, for the few clients of ours that don't have the Facebook Pixel installed on their website or for sites other than Facebook, use impressions and engagement month over month as a measurement, or more directly using unique URLs or special offer codes created specifically for their social sites. So for example, one of our hotel clients has a social media only rate. So we know exactly where that booking is coming from, from their social sites.
Yeah, we love that Facebook Pixel helps us get a little bit closer to attribution as well. And even though we're still seeing a lot of success with really top of the funnel efforts through our social advertising, as far as awareness campaigns, we're seeing great CPM or great engagement on Facebook, but not every client is ready to take the step to full ROI and full attribution. Maybe there's not the right data set in place just yet, or they're not fully offering e-commerce. So we get a little bit scrappy with ROI when we have to, and the Pixel helps us do that, as well as really deep event tracking within the web pages that we set up with Facebook. One of the best kind of examples we have of that recently is making the connections between new email subscribers gained from Facebook advertising. So if you're able to kind of generate leads from Facebook and that translates over to other programs within the marketing suite, it may be a little bit easier to get to ROI by kind of connecting those dots. And then as far as ROI for organic content, which is something that is really a hot topic right now, we're finding some fun ways to compare organic to paid social success. So when we're using live videos now, we're able to take the reach gained from going live and kind of say, this is what you would have to spend on an ad in order to get that reach organically or through that ad. But instead, you're using the new tactics that kind of expand your ROI there.
Yeah, we use a lot of the same tactics to prove ROI. Especially, the Facebook Pixel is something that I think most agencies rely on. But I think as well, Google Analytics is still a big source of data for us. When we're looking at that complete funnel, we want to be able to show that return on total ad spend. So we try our best to really map out what is that customer journey, what are the touch points that they need to have from that top of funnel, like Facebook and the social awareness components, right down to how this starts impacting other tactics like search, where we have higher levels of intent. So that's where a system like Google Attribution, which is coming out soon, woohoo, super excited about, would hopefully be able to help. Another way that we're able to track quite significantly is by actually building out dedicated landing pages for campaigns. I find that's a great way where you're sending traffic to a very central location, and if you can do that for a specific campaign within social, you can see a little bit of better direct return. Facebook, as a great example too, is starting to build their own landing pages within the platform. So there will be a big opportunity there. And then really just being able to identify what are the core KPIs that the client really cares about and driving all of our efforts towards that from our, if they want just unique reach and to be in front of people, make sure that that's at the center of all the tactics and then our reporting as well to prove the return and the value of what they're going to be getting in the social space.
Dan, I'd love for you to elaborate a little bit more on that. How exactly do you work with clients to determine their key KPIs if they don't know them already?
Well, surprisingly, a lot of clients, when they come to us as an agency, they think, oh, we need digital marketing. And we're like, no, first you need a new brand. And then we start looking at that storytelling. And then the next goal becomes, okay, you need brand awareness. So in many cases, we try to tell them, okay, if brand awareness is your goal, here are the KPIs that are going to matter most to you. So within that example, unique reach is very important. As an agency, I really don't care about impressions. I think impressions are not as valuable as being able to say how many people we actually get in front of. I think agencies very much overuse impressions. but we'll see something as like unique reach is very important. And then engagement is very important. Making sure that the content actually resonates well with our target audience. So, giving them of here is what the industry average is and here are the results that we're getting for you, helps make a direct comparison and prove, okay, the content and the messaging that we're putting out is working. It is resonating very well with audiences. And then if the goal is to drive them to learn more, ensuring that we have a call to action on all of our posts. That way we can measure link clicks, because that's a very strong indicator as well if people are actually interested in your brand and want to learn more. But it really is that educating the client on here are the KPIs associated with your larger KPI or the goals of your business.
Absolutely, and I love that you're relating it back to industry averages. I think that that's really important too, to educate the client about what they can typically expect, or maybe what some of their competitors are getting to, just so that expectations are clear and agreed upon and mutually agreed upon. And it definitely is
Absolutely
more about that engagement, right? You don't just want to get in front of people, but you want to inspire them or evoke some kind of emotion or action through those engagements.
Yeah, and it's really our job as an agency to educate because, in many instances, they've either been doing it themselves and they feel like, yes, they might have done it reasonably well, but it's trying to tell them, okay, here's what you've done. And I really loved Nicole's example of here's what you were able to do organically, but maybe all of that time and energy that you're putting in, you could have reached the same amount of people by putting $50 behind a post. And that is just mind-blowing to some people, but they might just not know the capabilities and what the potential results could be.
Sure. Yeah, that's a really great point about just, showing the comparison between paid and unpaid and kind of, where the industry is heading to. And with that, we'll get into the next question. So I would love for you to share any resources that help you to create a really successful campaign, or maybe just even to spark creativity.
Yeah, I'll jump in. This is Nicole, and at Mindstream, we really rely on kind of three main things as we're starting every social content brainstorm. The first would be consumer mindset, the second, primary research, and the third, competitive intelligence. So when we look at consumer mindset, we really want to plan and brainstorm around the exact space that we're finding our user in and think about the needs that they have at that moment to really bring the customer experience frame of mind into it. And something that Kim mentioned earlier brought me back to this point. When the hotel brand wants to advertise their luxurious beds, but maybe right now we're reaching audiences that are interested in spring break, and they're really thinking a lot more about all the fun they're going to have out on the pool deck. So showing them images that are really in line with their mindset at the moment would make more sense. And that's what we want to start thinking of at the beginning of every brainstorm. The second being primary research. This is a great resource to help you know exactly how to talk to your audience, because you're able to point to their interests kind of in a one-to-one fashion. And one way that we do this at Mindstream is using a tool called Hotjar to place little mini surveys on web pages of our clients. And sometimes we're able to connect these back to our social campaigns. So one that we did was a small survey asking about the biggest health concerns that our users were having during a certain time of the year. And if it happened to be flu, we would ramp up the budget for our flu advertising, or the same for diabetes or for heart health. So we're really able to connect our strategy to the user's needs that way. And then the third, of course, is competitive intelligence. A lot of people that do work in social media are still passionate about using it themselves. So our team has a little Slack channel where we keep the best of social ads that we see. So anything that comes up in our own feeds from day to day that really inspires us or sparks some inspiration for our own clients, we share that with the team and say, this ad did a few things for me, and here's how I think we could learn from it.
That's really interesting, Nicole. I love that you're putting yourself in the shoes of the consumer and then giving advice and guidance to your clients based on that. And I think that tool Hotjar is really fantastic and a great way to, ask a simple question and get that feedback right away. So kudos to you. Those are really great. Those are really great tactics.
Thanks.
With that, we'll get into our last question here, which is another fun one. I would love to hear everyone's predictions for where they see social media marketing, digital marketing going over the next year.
This is Kim. I'll jump in because we're really excited. Video, of course, will remain popular. So businesses will have to get especially savvy in providing valuable content this way. Another big thing, I think influencer marketing will continue to grow, and brands, I think would definitely benefit from exploring this type of collaboration. And lastly, we're pretty excited about exploring more virtual reality or 360 video, augmented reality type technology for our clients. So we're looking into that.
I'd say at Mindstream, we're really excited about the opportunities that chatbots and automated options within social media will have to really grow in 2018. We know that latest research is telling us that consumers want an answer from brands that they reach out to on social in an hour or less. And I also read a really great Digiday article just this morning that said with the newsfeed changes on Facebook, the community manager's position is going to be even more important than it already has been. So with chatbots really kind of becoming more user-friendly on the agency or marketing side, and automated options becoming more friendly to the consumer side, we think those are going to be some really great options in 2018 to maintain responsiveness on your social channels without having to sacrifice authenticity.
Yeah, I'll totally second Nicole's point there about chatbots. A really cool piece of technology or company, if you haven't checked it out yet, is BotBot. The bots are not only adorable, but they are also very easy to use and to assemble. So it's a very quick way to really meet that need that Nicole's talking about. I think one of the biggest challenges for 2018 is really going to be ad blockers as well. We're seeing, new browsers that are coming with built-in ad blockers. So space is becoming more limited in terms of getting people's attention. That's really the challenge that we are facing as agencies is there is so much out there, but how do you actually get the attention of the person and stand out in a crowd? Now with space being limited, you'd think, okay, maybe it might be easier, but I think it's just gonna be even more challenging and limiting in that respect. I think there's also a huge rise of influencers in social media, but not just on the influencer side. I'm not just talking about the Kim K's of the world, but really those micro influencers. People with 10,000 to 100,000 followers have massive influence, and their normalized engagement rates are so much higher than people that we see with those millions of followers. So really integrating micro influencers into campaigns is going to take your social campaign to the next level. And then the last thing is mobile. Mobile has always been exploding the past couple of years and is just continuously moving in that direction. A fun fact that I got from my friends at Google is that we scroll through 300 feet of copy a day on our mobile devices. That is roughly the size of the Eiffel Tower, which is absolutely insane, but I think it just demonstrates the importance of always thinking mobile first with anything that we're putting out, especially in social, since that's really where people are having the most experiences within social platforms.
That's a really essential point, Dan, to think mobile first. I think that we all know that we're always checking that first thing in the morning, typically last thing at night. So really great point there. And Kim, I'm super excited to see what you and ThinPig come up with in regards to augmented reality and virtual reality. I think that that's an area that I'm personally really excited about. So I can't wait to see what comes over the next year, a couple of years in regards to that.
Yeah, so are we.
If there is no other insights from all of you, I mean, those were fantastic. We really appreciate your time here. We will conclude this session. Thank you everyone so much for attending. I think that we all can agree that there are tons of valuable takeaways, agency or not. I think that this was a really fantastic panel. So thank you all your panelists for your time here. Feel free to continue the conversation, everyone, on social media using the hashtag Sprout Sessions. And again, like I said at the beginning, you can follow up with any of our panelists here. Their Twitter handles are listed, so feel free to do that. From all of us at Sprout, thank you so much for tuning in.